Good morning. We're looking down into Sycamore Canyon, which is dry as a bone this summer day. And I'm going to break here to talk some anime.
Space Family, Carl Vinson.
Carl Vinson was a U.S. congressman for 50 years. As chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, he saw to it that the Navy got the ships that it wanted. In 1980, the grateful Navy named the USS Carl Vinson a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier in his honor. In 1984, the Carl Vinson was sailing in the Sea of Japan with the Pacific Fleet. Apparently, about that time, author Yoshito Asari was looking for the name for his new manga. And so, Space Family Carl Vinson was born, a sort of Swiss Family Robinson for the space age. In 1988, that sci-fi comedy manga became an anime OVA. In the distant spacefaring future, a ragtag troupe of alien thespians is traveling between planets. These performers represent a number of species, including a robot, an elf, a naked brainstem, an eyeball, and what appears to be a giant tribble. They have an accidental collision with another spaceship, which then crashes on a nearby planet. Landing near the wreckage, they find the lone survivor is a now orphaned human baby girl. Reasoning that if any humans come looking for the girl, they'll come to this planet, the troupe decides to stay and care for the little girl right there. After all, they are great actors. With the information in the ship's database, surely they'll be able to play the parts of the human parents until some real humans drop by to collect her. They set up a nursery and a broadcast beacon announcing where the kid is. Over 5 years later, little Corona has grown up with the help of a loving mom and dad and a collection of equally alien uncles and nephews and siblings. The database says it's time for little Corona to start school, so her alien guardians assemble some of the indigenous children and adults into creating something akin to an alien kindergarten. Whenever little Corona wants to go off on some little childlike expedition, such as catching dragonflies out by Cherry Hill, Mom always makes extra sure she's safely dressed for that activity. Ask any parent, no young child should ever be allowed out of the house without a protective power suit. Something Mom hasn't told Corona or the rest of the troupe is that there have been occasional garbled messages on the radio suggesting that someone out there may finally be coming for Corona. Space Family Carl Vinson is often a silly comedy, and it eventually wanders into one of those sentimental morals about how affection is more important than DNA, or strawberry shortcake for that matter. That part of the story will please 6-year-olds and their parents. The humor is often excessively slapstick, and plenty of the jokes fall flat, but a few are occasionally chuckle-worthy, mostly when the aliens are playing at being human parents, and especially when they're being overprotective of their adoptive daughter. I have no sense of humor whatsoever, and somehow I manage to laugh several times at this. I find that if I bury it away for 10 years, the same dumb jokes become funny all over again. The screenplay is by Michiru Shimada, who also wrote the charming Spirit of Wonder OVA, Miss China's Ring, as well as some Dr. Slump and the early Ronin Kenshin. Since this OVA is based on a longer manga, the anime wisely keeps many of the alien characters in strictly a background population role, more like cameo appearances, without trying to develop more than Corona, Mom, Dad, and a couple of the other members of the troupe. Most never even give their names, and it limits the story to just a few events. The artwork looks its age, and it wasn't a model of fluid animation to begin with. There are a couple of dozen bizarre-looking alien races designed here, and a sprinkling of sight gags. But it's a comedy, not an action show, so the animation is more than adequate to convey the information. Look, Space Family Carl Vinson isn't high art or sophisticated humor. I could argue it's 25-year-old moe because Corona is such a darling little girl. It has a robot, so I guess I could call it a mecha show. But I can't see it being popular with young anime fans today because it lacks action, violence, and fan service, and the humor isn't centered on the otaku culture. It's about parenting. Still, I give it a modest recommendation of 3.5 stars because it's managed to make me laugh a couple of times over the years. Space Family Carl Vinson has never had a U.S. release, but then we had the Congressman and his namesake aircraft carrier. Thanks for watching.